Hi, everyone. This is Kevin with Monarch, and I'm here with Catherine White with the MeyCo Marketing team. And we're doing another little event of coffee with Kevin. So I don't know if you can see my coffee here, but we got a little coffee and a tea going on. So thank you, Catherine White, for joining us and for this restart of our Coffee with Kevin. So, this is really just meant as a conversation between a lot of industry leaders, some new thoughts, new ideas, new processes, whatnot, and to have a little bit of cup of coffee in the process. So thank you, Catherine. Introduce yourself, and then we'll get to our coffee with Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks. I coffee and tea with Kevin. Thank you. I am Catherine White. I'm the CEO and founder of MeyCo Marketing. We are a marketing agency that focuses on digital marketing endeavors for brands and businesses in the aesthetic space, medical and aesthetic space. So we've got an incredible team out here in Southern California. We work a lot with Kevin and all of his endeavors, and we help bring brands to the forefront of who they are in front of thousands and thousands of growing med spas. We also then can help on the other side. We help the med spas, the derms, the plastics make sure that they're successful with their marketing endeavors, all through digital platforms. So we're talking social media, email, website, text message marketing, kind of everything you can think of. So that's what we do.
And just to kind of let everyone know, Catherine and her team not only do work with companies like Monarch Aesthetic Services, but they've also had the opportunity to work with individual plastic surgeons, dermatologist practices, med spas, every type of kind of specialty across the board, and then some, correct? You do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean we've siloed our businesses to have those kind of two big pillars essentially. So we work with building the big brands across, kind of the world, honestly. And then we also help post sale. So if there are those, smaller, I don't want to call them mom and pop shops, but the plastic surgeon office, the med spa offices and locations, we then help them with their marketing as well. So we can do both, which is nice.
So with that said, I guess the real question probably everyone's coming back to is what's the way to market? How do you market? Like if I was doing one thing to promote my brand, to promote my med spa, my office, what do you do? Is there one thing that's your go-to that you think everyone should do?
I'm going to cheat and give you two answers. Social media, no matter what. The best part about social media is it's free to have a social media account, not like a website where you have to pay to have a hosting fee and all this stuff. You can set up a social media account today, and there's no limitation on who you can reach with social media, which is great. It's a free tool. It's something easy that you can do, and it's a really good way to reach out to your customers authentically, show them who you are, show them a little bit more about your science or the brand or the face behind the business. So social media is number one. But in 2025 and everything, I would also say text message marketing and SMS campaigns. Everybody, whether we like it or not, are on our phones. I mean, it's like attached to everybody at our hips. On average, we spend about 6 hours a day, either on phone calls, texting, looking at our phones. So text message marketing is a huge way to get in front of your customers without kind of engaging them too much, if that makes sense.
And then, I think the other thing that everyone asks is, so when you start doing marketing, we all want the turn the faucet on and make a ton of leads and patients or whatever may be coming in. So, what's the kind of metrics of the return on investment? How long does it take? How do you really build a brand? Because let's say I'm starting a brand new office. What does it take to really get the ball rolling?
Well, that's a little bit of a complex answer, essentially, because at the end of the day, when you're marketing, I'm just going to say your med spa, your office, you have to have what I call a marketing circle. So you can't just say, I'm only going to do social media and I'm not going to have a website, or I'm only going to have a website and I'm not going to do email and I'm not going to do texts. Unfortunately, but fortunately, customers need to be reached out to on all different types of platforms, especially if we're talking about different demographics. You might have younger patients in their 20s, text message marketing, social media, it's absolutely where it's at, especially TikTok and Instagram. Or you have patients who are in their 40s and 50s. That's a little bit more of a Facebook conversation, email marketing, and a website is an absolute must. But to answer your question kind of directly, I always look at it as you have to have a landing page, aka your website, that showcases great results, who you are, easy ways to book, and all of the things that you do. You have to have your social media, because then that also is I call it a more fun, more personable way to show off all the things that you're incredible at. And then you have to have a third pillar, whether that's your email marketing or your text messages marketing. Typically, you need at least 6 months if you're starting from scratch to really build your foundation and get the ball rolling. Now, there are a lot of ways to start getting leads quickly through those avenues. You might already have an email list, which is great. You might be starting from scratch, but you're partnering with other businesses to build your Instagram following. I like to say it's a 6 month, sometimes year process, depending upon where we're starting. If you already have a list, then great. We already have two legs up, which is awesome. There is also the elephant in the room that everybody asks me about is paid. I love paid, but you always have to have what's called organic, on paid, and then inorganic, which is paid marketing. Paid marketing and inorganic marketing can really help you with that initial boost of leads. So we're talking maybe every month if you have a healthy budget, and I'm going to be honest and transparent, a healthy budget is at least $1,000, $2,000 to put into paid media advertising. You could probably get good qualified 10, 15 leads, but then we have to talk about how you're following up with your leads. People, unfortunately, we love Amazon, but we have been accustomed to getting things overnight, getting the text message that the shipping is on the way. And let's be honest, customers are on their phones at 1 a.m. for whatever reason, and they try to book appointments then. So that's a whole separate conversation that I could dive into, but making sure that you have that proper system set up if you are going to put a budget behind your inorganic paid media to process those leads. I know it was a long-winded answer for you, but that's typically what we kind of see if you're starting from scratch.
So many years ago in grad school, so it basically sounds like it's a multitude of pillars and you have to do everything. I mean, we learned the multitude of pillars that kind of do all of your marketing is a lot of different things and you got to do them all pretty consistently. Is that still the story nowadays? It's not just one solution?
Absolutely. I mean, no one practice is going to have the same exact demographic and the same type of person who only does one thing. We're diverse people. So you have to reach out to everybody in a different way. So, yeah, you do kind of have to do everything. Now, that's overwhelming for a lot of practices. So that's what my team does is we help you guys, I like bite-sized pieces. Let's figure out this part of your circle first. Now let's attack this. Now let's attack that. Before you know it, you've got three really strong pillars that are working synchronously, and then you're able to add them as you go. Okay, let's do text message marketing. Okay, let's talk about PR. Let's talk about influencer marketing, and you just build it from there.
So let's also talk a little bit about metrics on it. So let's say, I'm a established, but I don't have like a million, patients or followers or however you want to do it. And we decide to do a campaign on it. Let's say an email blast. That's kind of the old tried and true. I know it's a little bit, but what is a good kind of percentage open rate of email blasts or exposure on social media? Kind of give us some of the numbers just so we understand what we're looking at.
Yeah. I mean, to clarify too, let's talk email versus Instagram. I'm just going to say Instagram specifically because I could dive into all the other social platforms. I love email and I will always encourage practices to have email. People say it's old school, whatever, but you own your email list. You don't necessarily own your Instagram followers, which a lot of people don't realize. So let's say, and people joke about it, but there's that TikTok ban going out. Let's say they just delete Instagram tomorrow. You lost all that work, which I know can sound discouraging and it's still necessary, but that's why I always encourage having an email too. So with email, the industry standard that we're seeing is typically an open rate of about 12 to 20%. Now, a lot of people freak out when I say that. That sounds low, but trust me, that's kind of how that goes. One thing I will say that we found from an aesthetics market standpoint, people are not ready to buy in that moment sometimes. So when you send them that email, they might open it, they might not open it, but they might file away and save it. And then when it's time for them to come in for their, I don't know, their Botox or their laser treatment, because it's been 6 months since they've had it, they go back to their filed emails and they look at what your past specials were. They look at X, Y, and Z and they give you a call. So 12 to 20% is typical. And let's say you have a huge email list. Let's say you have like, I don't know, 10,000 people. That's a good metric. 12% open rate for people then hopefully click and book. That's great. On a social media standpoint, it's a little bit of a harder game. It's very, very saturated, but you can be unique and you can show your authenticity through your posts. Typically, we're talking, your reach is not astronomical, but you can kind of do whatever with your reach, which is great. So there's no limits to who you can reach, which is wonderful. So I've got customers where you'll do a post and you'll reach 10,000 people, 10,000 accounts. Now, are they super highly qualified leads? Maybe, maybe not. But if you're posting every day or every other day, you're getting in front of those people constantly. Our attention spans are 8 seconds long, and you have to hit customers 8 times. That's a new stat for 2025. So after they've seen your post for about 2, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, then they're like, okay, cool, I'm going to call and book, or I'm going to call and do a free consultation. So at that point in time, let's say you have 100 followers, you're probably reaching, I would say 250 to 500 individual people. And that's small. Most of our offices that we work with have 30,000 followers or something like that. So the metrics are really nice and they can really help you, especially with a low barrier to entry with Instagram and email, which is nice.
So obviously, let's say someone's got your team helping them with services, so all the back ends up. What's the tool, like the number one tool that you suggest an office to use, meaning tool in the office, build their social media or build their marketing? Or is there one tool that everyone should have? Because everyone thinks they have to have these special media rooms or bring in a videographer. I mean, we hear that all the time. I mean, I think those things are great, but is that what you recommend everyone to do?
All you need is a good iPhone. Honestly. Now, there's merit in making sure that you have a good editing team, a good editing person. That's why we do what we do. But at the end of the day, especially in 2025, authentic, real content is actually much more trustworthy with customers. Is it great to have a beautiful, nice setup with camera rig and everything? Of course, you're going to get this awesome, beautiful video that you can put on your website, but it's not necessary. That can be like phase two if you're still starting out. All you need is a good iPhone, someone who's good at filming, and then a good editor, essentially.
A lot of times we're also talking about, I'm just going to kind of be personal. When we sell a piece of equipment, we typically include some sort of your services or something that to the customer base. Talk a little bit about kind of what that really means, and is it a one size fits all? Is it kind of a more modified kind of what are you talking about when that really happens? When a customer ends up buying a piece of equipment or gets involved and wants to utilize your services?
We've been doing this a long time. We've been putting together programs like this for over 10 years. So there is a formula for success that you can follow for almost any practice. Now, there is some customization that can be implemented if need be, but essentially we go through a 30 and 90-day launch program. There are certain things that you just have to have when you get a new piece of device. Let's update your website. Let's do some intro campaigns on your social media. Is everything set up so that they can click and book, or they can see the before and afters, or they can DM you? All those things are very similar to what we've done with a lot of other practices and seen some great success. And then there are some things that need to be personalized. Like, let's be honest, you need to be personal with your customer. So it's important to film those personalized campaign videos and put them on your YouTube Shorts or use them in your Instagram Reels and have them on your YouTube channel as well as your website. Our team can do that for you. We can come out with a big video team and make it all wonderful and beautiful. Or if you want to do it in a different manner, because I'll be honest, it's just a different price point, different time investment on your end, we can do something that's a little bit more cookie cutter for you. So it does depend, but the elements are always there as far as email, social media, website. Let's talk about what design materials you have in your office to be converting your low hanging fruit, the people that are coming into your office all the time and need to know about your new treatment. And then let's talk about if there's the opportunity and you have the budget to do some paid media, get some new patients into your office as well.
What is a good expectation? So let's say I buy a new piece of equipment, I bring in the practice, you're engaged, and obviously you've been doing it for 10 years. So do you have metrics kind of like, when something comes in and they kind of go through it, is it impressions? What is it that you're really looking to get qualified or get, with the marketing pieces?
Our goal is always to get people to view your content, reach an impressions, and then share that and save that, and then hopefully at some point make a conversion. Sometimes that customer journey is different depending upon the device, or I should say the treatment you're offering. Like, let's be upfront, frank, and honest. A lot of people are probably more interested in laser facials, or a candidate for laser facials, have the budget for laser facials, as opposed to maybe something a little bit more invasive or something that's a little bit more specialized, like hair or something like that. And I'm going to do a big caveat here, because this absolutely 100% depends upon what your follow-up sequence looks like. And our team coaches you through that, but it's something that's incredibly important when you bring on a new piece of equipment. In general, in the first 3-6 months, we're in the process of launching, of filming, of showcasing everything. But you can probably, depending upon, let's just pretend you've got a medium following, a medium social media following, a medium email plan. I'd say in 3 months, it's easy for us to help you find at least 30 patients, which is great. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Like I said, it depends upon what the treatment is that you guys are offering, because each treatment is very different from a demographic standpoint. Within 6 months, if you guys have a good follow-up sequence and you're constantly kind of touching and reaching out to the leads that are provided for you, or at least your followers on social media, you could easily get 60, 70 patients, which is great.
Okay, so let's talk about follow-up sequence. What does that mean? I mean, that's a great term, but what does that really mean?
There's a couple rules to follow 100%. I'm a big, big, big believer in online booking so that people can book a free consultation with you, or, maybe you have a paid consultation, whatever that looks like, 24/7. Most people, let's be honest, we've known this from a millennial standpoint. There's a big study that went off on millennials. 92% of them, I think, look and decide to book their schedules after business working hours. So from 5 p.m. and on, because they've already picked kids up from school or they're finishing cooking dinner, they're sitting down and watching baseball or whatever they're doing. They now have the time to go, oh, I got to come get my Botox, or I really want to do something about the pigment on my face. So they're trying to book outside of business hours. So if you don't have something set up where either it's a call center, I'm not a fan of call centers because we all know millennials don't like to pick up the phone and talk to people. We like to text. It's true. We like to text. We like to order online. We don't want to have the hassle of talking to someone. Having an online booking system is key. Now, what does that online booking system look like? I'm a big fan of automating it. So hopefully they book at 10 p.m. Maybe they go and schedule a consultation with Dr. Kevin tomorrow. And then they get a follow-up email. Okay, great. Here's what to expect when you come to my practice. Here's a personalized message from me, Dr. Kevin. Thanks so much for reaching out to me. This is what you can expect. This is what I look like, by the way. You gotta have to paint the picture for this patient so they know what it's going to look like when they come and check in, what the office looks like, what you look like as a provider, and what they can expect to talk to you about. Maybe you don't convert them then. We hope you convert them then. But let's say you don't, put them into your follow-up funnel sequence. Every 2 weeks, maybe you send out a newsletter. Hey, we're doing a special on X, Y, and Z. Hey, did you know that we offer all of these other services? Did you know that we have a event coming up? Something like that. Those re-engagement points, whether it's through text or email, are super important. Now, the other thing I'll say is I always tell offices, if they can, to engage a person, an actual human being, that the first thing they do when they come in the morning is they check any bookings that had happened after close the night before. So 5 p.m. to 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. when they open up, they got to check on those and either send a little text message, send a little call, make sure that they're confirmed, something like that. Because again, it's another personal touch. Everybody wants to feel like you care about them. The service industry has unfortunately suffered a ton after COVID. I think in aesthetics, we've had this incredible opportunity to show them above and beyond service by doing small little things like that. And that really makes a difference when someone decides to trust you with their face, which I think is important.
We're running out of time limit because we're going to try to keep these short, but any other tricks or tips or anything that you think we should be just as a good parting gift to anyone that's watching this? What do you think?
I would say always be willing to try something new. Everything changes. The Instagram algorithm is changing. The way people read emails and respond to texts are changing. You have to make sure that you're flexible and changing with the times. And the other thing I'd say is be authentic. People don't want to see the perfectly poised, my hair is always perfect, I have always perfect makeup person, because you don't seem realistic. They want, especially in this field, to have a friend. You kind of become their friend, or a lot of people joke their therapist. When people come in, they sit down in the chair and we have that girl talk, or guy talk, whatever you want to say. So be authentic and try a ton of different things, because everything's changing and you never know what's going to work, essentially.
Again, everyone, thank you for joining us. Catherine, thank you, and the MeyCo team for joining us. This is Kevin with Monarch. We will be doing our weekly coffee with Kevin on a weekly basis, trying to get some good information out to the marketplace and really help educate everyone. We believe the better everyone is educated, the better off we're all going to be. So I hope you guys have a great week. And again, thank you for Catherine for joining us, and to say hi to the MeyCo team and have a great weekend.
For sure. Sounds good. Thanks, Kevin.